keep saying politics is a dirty game, but the reality is that the guy who makes the decisions that impact you and I is a politician, and that guy you can build the best business in Nigeria. A rubbish government policy can destroy that business overnight. So you see, when you say that politics is dirty, it's dirty depending on how you play it. I've been out campaigning to people, and the first thing I say to them is, I'm not going to give you a dime. I'm not buying your votes. Okay, cool. Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good to see you. It's nothing in life is easy, right? I have this mantra that the prize is not going to be given to you. You have to go there and win it, and you have to go there and earn it. It's very easy to always say that, look, my hands are full, I have so many things that I'm doing, and I cannot have time for anything else. But I think if you have a passion, you should always be driven by your passion. My passion has always been people, looking for ways to impact people's lives. So when you say I'm a pastor, again, it's about just impacting people's lives. But the truth is that as a pastor, your platform is somewhat limited in terms of how much impact, how many people you can reach, how many people you can impact their lives, and what type of impact you can actually achieve. And for me, when it comes to why political office, it was a tough decision for me as well, to just think that, okay, look, how more what other platform can I have where I can directly impact the lives of people? And it was very clear to me from the beginning that it's about political office. The quality of leadership that Nigeria has in itself lends itself to the fact that we can never ever get better if the quality of leadership we have remains the same. We've had 24 years of democracy, and you could almost say that we really haven't achieved much. The life of the average Nigerian hasn't really improved since 1999. You can have spots of growth in different times that are not exactly because of government policy, but just because of what is happening around us. When crude oil prices went to $140 in 2007, or the $100 during Jonathan's time, and you say, oh yeah, Nigerians were better. But the truth is that fundamentally, the moment a crisis came, all of that comfort that we had disappeared. And that for me is the motivation. The more the elites, the more the people who can impact people stay away from politics, the more the worst of us become our leaders. And we just have to throw our hearts into the mix to ensure that, look, we're not just going to sit by quietly and let you ruin the country permanently. We're going to go out fighting, and we're going to fight till the end. So very, very easy. Look, I've been in the private sector for 32 years. And I would say, I hope, that if anyone was going to speak about my career in the private sector, they would say I never used it to enrich myself undeservedly. They would say that, I focus on results, and I try to make sure that the results speak for the efforts that we put in. Look, we keep saying politics is a dirty game, but the reality is that the guy who makes the decisions that impact you and I is a politician, and that guy you can build the best business in Nigeria. A rubbish government policy can destroy that business overnight. And we've seen that happen to a lot of Nigerians. People who have built businesses based on government policy, and the intervention the government puts back just destroys that business. So you see, when you say that politics is dirty, it's dirty depending on how you play it. I've been out campaigning to people, and the first thing I say to them is, I'm not going to give you a dime. I'm not buying your votes. I'm not asking you to vote for me because I gave your children jam form, or because the fact is that the only reason why I'm giving your children jam form in the first place is because you are poor. If you had your own resources, you wouldn't take a handout from me. So when your politician comes and does, oh, I bought 2,000 jam forms, you're actually a useless person. Because if you have not impoverished the people, they will be able to pay for jam forms themselves. So they will not be demanding things that they can do for themselves from you, but they will be demanding proper governance. So you see, the truth is that we have to change that narrative that says that politics is for dirty-minded people. No, that's not true. In other parts of the world, decent people play politics. Politics is about convincing the people that the vision you have for them is better than the other person's vision. And the people trusting you that the vision that you're painting to them is one that you can achieve. So I would say more like the ADC chose me, rather than me choosing the ADC.
Okay.
So look, I've always had sympathies for progressive parties. So when I say progressive, I think if I was in the US, I'll be a Democrat. I believe I'm a bit liberal in my thinking. Even though when it comes to economics, I'm a free market person. So I realized that there's some contradictions there, and finding the right political platform was always going to be a challenge. But I think that what endeared me more to the ADC was, first, it wasn't a legacy party that had the corruption taints of the APC and the PDP, and I say that without any sense of regret. They perhaps the two most corrupt institutions that have ever played any role in the lives of Nigerians are those two parties. And there is no way you're going to emerge from the process of those two parties without you being tainted by the dirty politics that you referred to earlier on. Because at the end of the day, if I have to get the blessings of a godfather before I emerge as a candidate, it means that I have to make compromises to that godfather. And then secondly, I'm beholden to him after I've been elected. So I'm not beholden to the people that have elected me. I'm beholden to some guy who sits in his house and demands reparations. The Yorubas will call it ishakole. And for me it was very simple. I was not going to go into a party that had a warlord sitting over it and determine, oh, yes, you are the best candidate, but it's not yet your turn. No. As Nigerians, we need to change that mentality of saying it's one person's turn or another person's turn. No. Let the best candidates emerge. Person who can help Nigerians achieve their dreams. So for me, it was never going to be APC or PDP because they were tainted. The other parties were quite fragmented, and I was looking for a party that had some level of structure. And by structure, I'm not talking about corruption, right? But some level of structure that at least you could build a platform on, and the ADC provided that platform. And by the way, we have a fantastic governorship candidate. You just need to check him out, Funsho Doherty. I think if Funsho wins that governorship election in Lagos, Lagos is in for an awesome time. You have to ask yourself, what does popular mean?
Okay.
Listen, the current governor you have in Lagos State today won elections with 725,000 votes. We know that some of those votes were manufactured because we saw the process through which he emerged. 725,000 people voted for a sitting governor in Lagos, but there are 7 million card-carrying people who have PVCs. So the truth is that of the 7 million people, only 1 in 7 voted for the current governor. If he was indeed popular, and by the way, the most popular governor we've ever had in Lagos is Babatunde Raji Fashola. In the second term, he had 1.5 million votes. Again, we know some of those votes were manufactured because that's what the APC is very good at doing. But the reality is that when you realize that those guys are actually not as popular as they present themselves to be, they're dominant parties because they've been in existence for a long time. They've benefited from government patronage. And obviously the corruption in the government system has funded their expansions. But the truth is that there is going to be a king that doesn't know Joseph. There's going to be a Pharaoh one day. Everything is going to come home to roost. The people are going to realize that these people that they've been voting for 24 years haven't done anything to improve their lives. So in my campaigns, when I've gone to the markets in Eti Osa and spoken to people, the reality is that the first question they ask, what are you going to give me? And I say to them, I'm not giving you anything. If you want to vote for me because I'm going to give you money, then I don't need your votes. I said, because if I give you money, then I've given you everything you need for the next 4 years, 1,500 naira, 2,000 naira. It's not going to change your life. But why don't you give me a chance to change your life by ensuring that the government puts in policies that benefit you? And the moment you have that conversation with people, you can immediately see their mind and their eyes change. Because they then suddenly realize that, oh, these guys are not for politics as usual. They're basically saying, I'm offering you service. If what you want is somebody who's going to go there and serve your interests, I'm your guy. But if you want somebody who's going to give you 5,000 naira today, or buy jam form for your children, or buy keke marwa for them, without giving them the real empowerment they need, great quality education, opportunity for them to start their businesses and grow with them, then go ahead and vote for the people that have impoverished you. For me and my friends, people who believe that they trust me enough and they trust my party enough to say, if you guys get there, you do have a chance to change this country. You do have a chance to lay a foundation for a true country, a true democracy that Nigerians can be proud of. Look, at the end of the day, politics is expensive, or campaigns are expensive. At the end of the day, it's about voters understanding how much power they have. You see, for all those 6 guys in every 7 that stayed at home during the 2019 elections, you've empowered these criminals. That's just the reality. You've empowered them. By not coming out to cast your vote, you voted for the person who won effectively. And what people have to understand is that when one person stays at home and says, my vote is not going to count, if 300,000 people do the same thing, that's it, the election is lost. So what we are saying is, look, they've done something very deliberate. They've basically, it's almost like when someone is trying to kill you, but kills you to 5%, keeps you alive just long enough to prolong your suffering. So they've kept you alive. They would buy jam form for your kids. They will tell you how we're going to pay for your WAEC, and they will give you keke marwas, and then you think, they're doing good. What I'm saying to you is, there is an alternative. They don't buy jam forms for the people in the UK. They don't give them keke marwas. What they do is that they create an enabling environment that allows the individual to thrive. When I create an enabling environment, I will give you no restrictions to how high you can go. But when I keep feeding you, drip feeding you in little bits, take fish today, just the head. Tomorrow I'll give you the middle. And then 3 days later, I'll give you the little bit of the tail. The reality is, it conditions your mindset to see your enslaver as your savior. So the very guy who's put shackles in your hands, because he's drip feeding you, you see him as master. And what I'm saying to you is that if we educate our people and let them know that there is a connection between the choices you make at the ballot box and your outcomes as a person, and the policies that the government puts in place, and the fact that they've put you in a market that has no stalls, they've put you in a market that is smelling and dirty. But when you go to other countries in the world, the markets are not smelly and dirty. So don't accept the drip feed that they're feeding you. Understand that you can demand better, you can get better. And the moment you understand that, then you realize the power that you have. That my singular vote in Eti Osa, your singular vote in Eti Osa, your family's votes in Eti Osa, they can determine who wins an election. And what I would say again is, we need to educate those poor people, the people who are the biggest victims of this government, and let them know that your lot could have been better in the last 24 years. Your family hasn't come out of poverty in 24 years, and the same party has been in power. Come on. Like seriously, come on. Try the alternative. So my message is actually very simple. 1999, I was 24. I voted in the 1999 elections. We didn't really have that much choice. We had 2 dominant parties, and peripheral parties that they really didn't have any chance. Guess what? It's 24 years later. The problems that I had as a Nigerian 24 years ago, I still have those problems today. I don't have water in my house, I provide my own water. I don't have security, I have to pay for a guard to be in front of my house. My kids cannot go to a government school, never. My family is not going to get treated in a government hospital, never. So the quality of life that we had an opportunity to demand 24 years ago when we were making our first choices election is a choice that the youth have today. You see, if you make the same choices that we made in 24 years ago, you're going to have exactly the same outcomes that we have today. What are those outcomes? NSAS agitation. You trying to wonder and say, how can I be in a country where my life is in the hands of a policeman who can decide whether I can leave or not without any judicial process? Where a politician can say to you, how dare you ask me questions? Who are you? I'm not attending a debate because I don't need to attend a debate. They have no sense of accountability towards you. So I'm saying to every young person listening to me that this is your 1999. The choices that you make today will determine where Nigeria will be in the next 24 years. And I would appeal to you, do your research on the candidates that you're voting for. This is not the time to vote for parties. Oh, I'm an APC supporter, I'm a DWX supporter. No. Check the pedigree of the candidates that are presenting themselves as options to you and vote for the people who you believe can make the most impact in your lives. And I think that if we do that, even if not in this electoral cycle, we would have started to lay the foundations for a better Nigeria. By telling these politicians or politricians, like I call them, that there is an alternative to them. And it's just a matter of time before those alternatives become the real deal. I'm hoping that it's 2023, and I'm very confident that the wave that we are seeing from the younger generations today will be sustained post-election, even if the candidates win or not. And that going forward, we can continue to rely on them. And that the generation coming behind them can actually say that those guys stood for something, we too should stand for something. And I think Nigeria will be better for it.